The empty darkness of space lit up as the alien ship emerged. It was massive, shaped like a blade and covered in strange purple lights. Captain Samuel Wright stood on the bridge of his Earth ship and watched the screen with a tight feeling in his chest. After years of searching the stars for other life, humanity finally had its answer. They were not alone. "Captain, they're scanning us," said Officer Lisa Bennett. Her fingers moved quickly across her control panel. "I'm trying to establish communication." Samuel nodded and adjusted his uniform. This was a historic moment. The first contact between humans and an alien civilization would define humanity's future among the stars. "Any response to our greeting message?" he asked. Lisa shook her head. "Nothing. Yet, sir." The alien vessel was unlike anything humans had built. It was at least 10 times larger than the biggest Earth ships. Its hull shimmered with materials unknown to Earth science. "Sir, there's movement. They're launching smaller ships," reported Jack Nelson, the weapons officer. Samuel watched as several smaller craft left the main ship. "Are they attack vessels?" "Unknown, sir, but they're heading toward Mars Colony." The Mars Colony was humanity's first permanent settlement beyond Earth. 2,000 people lived there now, including many families. Samuel felt his heart beat. "Faster. Try all frequencies again. Make it clear we want peaceful contact," he ordered. Lisa worked frantically at her station. "Broadcasting on all channels, sir. I've included simple math sequences and basic language primers." Minutes passed, with no response. The alien ships continued toward Mars. "Sir, I'm picking up energy readings from the smaller ships," Jack said, his voice tight with concern. "They're powering up something." Samuel grabbed the communication panel. "This is Captain Samuel Wright of the Earth Defense Fleet. We welcome peaceful contact. Please respond." The screen remained silent. The smaller alien ships now surrounded the Mars colony. "Energy spike," shouted Jack. "There." The flash came before he could finish. Even through the view screen and millions of miles away, the brightness made everyone on the bridge shield their eyes. When they looked again, the dome of the Mars colony was broken. Atmosphere vented into space like a white cloud. 327 people, whispered Lisa. There were 327 people in that section. Samuel gripped the arms of his chair so hard his knuckles turned white. "Get me Earth Command now." The next day, President Eleanor Garcia stood before the United Nations. Her normally neat hair was messy from a night without sleep. The bags under her eyes told the story of endless emergency meetings. "Citizens of Earth," she began, her voice steady despite everything. "Yesterday we made contact with an alien civilization. Their response was not the peaceful exchange we hoped for. In an unprovoked attack, they destroyed part of our Mars colony, taking the lives of over 300 innocent people." The room filled with angry shouts and cries of disbelief. Eleanor raised her hand for quiet. "1 hour ago, we received a message from the alien vessel. They identify themselves as the Xeraxian Empire. They have given us an ultimatum: surrender. Earth and all our colonies within 30 Earth days or face complete destruction." Silence fell over the assembly. "The Security Council has voted unanimously," Eleanor continued. "Earth will not surrender. We will defend our people, our planets, and our right to exist. As of this moment, we are at war." On the alien flagship, Supreme Overlord Krath received the human response with amusement. Standing over 7 feet tall with gray-blue skin and 4 arms, he looked at the human transmission with his 3 yellow eyes. "They refuse to submit," he told his commanders. "These humans choose extinction." His second-in-command, General Vrex, studied the data from their scans. "My lord, there are some unusual readings from their technology. They appear primitive, but there are elements we don't fully understand." Krath waved one of his 4 hands dismissively. "All species believe they are special until they meet the Empire. In 4,000 years of conquest, none have stood against us for long." "Of course, my lord," Vrex bowed. "I simply suggest caution. Our intelligence division notes that these humans show remarkable adaptability in their short history." "You worry too much, Vrex," Krath said. "Prepare the first wave. I want this system secured before the new cycle. These humans will make good. laborers in the mining colonies. Back on Earth, humanity prepared for war. In underground bases and secret facilities, scientists and engineers worked day and night. They studied the scans of the alien ships, looking for any weakness. Samuel's ship joined the growing defense fleet near Earth. From his viewpoint in orbit, he could see the changes happening on the planet below. Cities darkened at night to prevent easy targeting. Military bases hummed with activity. In her lab beneath the Rocky Mountains, engineer Olivia Martinez stared at a piece of debris recovered from Mars. It was a fragment of one of the smaller alien ships, damaged in the attack. "The energy signature is like nothing we've seen before," she told Dr. Alan Blackwood, who worked beside her. "But if we can understand it, maybe we can defend against it." Alan nodded, his tired eyes never leaving his microscope. "Their weapons technology is advanced but not magical. There's science behind it, and we can learn it." Outside the lab, military vehicles moved troops and equipment. The first alien attack had killed hundreds. Earth was determined there wouldn't be a second. In space, more Xeraxian ships arrived daily. A fleet was forming, massive and threatening. Against them, Earth ships looked small and fragile. But inside those ships, men and women prepared to fight for their world. Samuel looked at the photo on his console, his brother's family on Mars, now safely evacuated to Earth after the attack. He tucked the picture away and faced his crew. "The enemy thinks we're weak," he told them. "They expect us to surrender or die quickly. They don't understand humans. We've spent our history fighting each other and surviving on a planet that tries to kill us with everything from diseases to natural disasters. Now we fight together against something from beyond our world." His crew nodded, faces determined. "We may be outnumbered," Samuel continued. "We may have less advanced technology, but we have something they don't expect: the will to survive no matter the odds." On the main view screen, the alien fleet grew larger each hour. The first battle for humanity's survival was coming. No one knew if Earth could win against an empire that spanned the stars. But they would fight. They had no choice. 6 months passed since the Mars attack. The war had not gone as the Xeraxian Empire expected. Commander Joseph Daniels looked out from the bridge of his ship, the EDF Defiant. Around him, the moons of Jupiter floated in space like silent guardians. His ship was hidden in the shadow of Europa, waiting. "Enemy ships approaching, sir," said his first officer, Paul Green. 5 cruisers and a dreadnought." Joseph nodded. The Xeraxians followed the same pattern every time. The large ships stayed back while smaller ones moved forward. They were predictable. Humans had learned to use this against them. "Tell all ships to hold position," Joseph ordered. "Wait for my signal." 20 human ships hid among Jupiter's moons, powered down to avoid detection. The plan was simple but risky. Let the Xeraxians come to them, then attack from all sides. "They're entering the kill zone," Paul reported. Joseph took a deep breath. Now, all at once, 20 ships powered up and moved from their hiding spots. The Xeraxians, caught by surprise, tried to form their usual battle line, but they were surrounded. "Fire all weapons," Joseph ordered. The space around Jupiter lit up with energy beams and missiles. 3 Xeraxian cruisers exploded immediately. The other ships tried to escape, but the human vessels were faster and more maneuverable. "Sir, the dreadnought is turning away," Paul said. "Should we pursue?" Joseph shook his head. "No. Let it run. Let it tell the others what happened here." Within an hour, the battle was over. All 5 cruisers destroyed and the dreadnought in retreat. The Defiant had taken damage, but all human ships had survived. "Send word to Earth," Joseph said. "Tell them Jupiter is secure." On Earth, in her underground lab, Olivia Martinez worked without stopping. For days, she had barely slept. The piece of Xeraxian technology in front of her might be the key to saving Earth. "I think I've got it," she told Alan Blackwood. "Their shields operate on a frequency we can counter." Alan looked at her work and smiled. This could change everything. Together, they had created a new kind of shield. It could adapt to Xeraxian weapons, growing stronger with each hit instead of weaker. "We need to get this to the fleet," Olivia said, saving her work. "How soon can production start?" "The factories are ready," Alan replied. If your design works, we can start upgrading our ships within weeks. Olivia looked at the ceiling, thinking about the ships in space. Let's hope it's soon enough. On the Xeraxian command ship, Admiral Vex received bad news from Jupiter. The human victory there was the third this month. Supreme Overlord Krath was not pleased. How are these primitives defeating our best ships? Krath demanded, all three of his yellow eyes glaring at Vex. They fight differently, my lord, Vex explained. They don't follow standard battle formations. They hide, they use tricks, they attack in ways we don't expect. Krath smashed his fist on his throne. They are savages with barely functional ships. They should have surrendered months ago. Perhaps we underestimated them, Vex suggested carefully. Then, we will send more ships, Krath decided. Prepare the second wave 3 times larger than the first. These humans will learn what it means to defy the Empire. The next major battle came at Saturn. Admiral Vex led a fleet of over 200 Xeraxian ships. Against them, the humans had only 50. Joseph Daniels commanded the human fleet from the Defiant. His ships now carried Olivia's new shields, but they were still outnumbered 4-1. All ships, scatter formation, Joseph ordered. Remember the plan. Hit and run. Don't stay in one place. The human ships spread out around Saturn's rings. The ice and rocks provided cover, allowing them to dart out, attack, and hide again. The Xeraxian ships fired their powerful weapons, but when they hit the human shields, something unexpected happened. The shields glowed brighter with each hit, absorbing the energy instead of being damaged by it. On the Defiant, Joseph watched the battle unfold. Martinez's shields are working, he told his crew. Press the attack. For hours, the battle raged around Saturn. The human ships darted between the rings, striking and then hiding. The Xeraxian ships, larger and less maneuverable, struggled to follow. Sir, we've destroyed 17 of their dreadnoughts, Paul reported. The rest are pulling back. Joseph could hardly believe it. 17 dreadnoughts, more than any human fleet had ever destroyed in a single battle. They're retreating, he confirmed, watching the enemy ships turn away. We've won. News of the victory at Saturn spread quickly across Earth. For the first time, people began to believe they might survive this war. In cities around the world, people celebrated. President Eleanor Garcia addressed the planet from her office. Today's victory shows what humanity can achieve when we stand together. The enemy thought we would be easy to defeat. They were wrong. In his war chamber, Supreme Overlord Krath received the news of the defeat with rage. He threw a data tablet against the wall, shattering it. How? He shouted at his advisors. How are they doing this? His science advisor stepped forward nervously. My lord, we've analyzed their technology. They're adapting, taking our own weapons and turning them against us. That's impossible, Krath argued. No species has ever learned our technology so quickly. The humans are different, the advisor explained. They learn faster than any species we've encountered in our 4,000 years of conquest. And they're creative in ways we didn't predict. Krath paced the room, all 4 of his arms clenched in fists. I want more ships. I want better weapons. I want Earth reduced to ash. My lord, Vex cautioned. Perhaps we should consider... Consider what? Krath interrupted. Peace? With primitives? Never. The Empire does not make peace. The Empire conquers. Vex bowed and left the chamber. But privately, he wondered if the Emperor's pride would doom them all. On Earth, Olivia and Alan continued their work. Using captured Xeraxian technology, they developed new weapons and stronger shields. We're still behind them technically, Olivia admitted as they tested a new engine design. But we're catching up faster than they can advance. Alan nodded. That's humanity's greatest strength. We adapt, we learn, we survive. Outside the lab, military vehicles moved day and night. Factories worked around the clock. All of Earth was united in the war effort. Joseph Daniels received new orders from Earth Command. His fleet would push beyond Saturn, taking the fight to the Xeraxians for the first time. We're no longer just defending, he told his crew. Now, we start pushing them back. The war was far from over. The Xeraxian Empire still had thousands of worlds and millions of ships, But for the first time, they faced an enemy that refused to be conquered. And that enemy was just getting started. 1 year into the war, Earth was ready to strike back. General Catherine Powell stood on the bridge of the EDF Avenger, the largest human ship ever built. At her command were 30 new warships, each carrying technology that was part human, part Xeraxian. "All ships report ready, General," said her second-in-command, Frank Lewis. Catherine nodded. "Begin Operation Sunrise." The human fleet jumped into faster-than-light travel, leaving Earth behind. Their target was the Xeraxian forward base on Titan, Saturn's largest moon. The enemy had built it after their defeat in the Battle of Saturn, thinking humans wouldn't dare attack so close to their main fleet. They were wrong. Major Eric Russell led the strike team, 50 soldiers in advanced spacesuits. While the fleet engaged the Xeraxian ships, his team would land on Titan and infiltrate the base. "Remember," he told his team as their shuttle approached, "we need their command codes and battle plans. Get in, get the data, get out." The shuttle landed silently on Titan's icy surface, 2 miles from the alien base. The team moved quickly across the frozen landscape. Titan's thick orange atmosphere hid them from orbital sensors. "Security looks light," Eric observed through his binoculars. "They don't expect us here." The team reached the base perimeter. 2 soldiers used cutting tools on the outer wall while others kept watch. Within minutes, they were inside. "Split into teams," Eric ordered. "Alpha team with me to the command center. Beta team to the communication hub. Delta team secure our exit." The humans moved through the alien base like shadows. The Xeraxians, overconfident, had minimal internal security. Eric's team reached the command center and quickly subdued the few guards present. "Download everything," Eric ordered as one of his tech specialists connected to the alien computers. "Every file, every plan, every communication." In the communication hub, Beta team did the same. Within 20 minutes, they had what they came for: complete access to Xeraxian strategic plans and communication networks. "All teams, mission complete," Eric announced. "Return to the shuttle." Above Titan, General Powell's fleet engaged the surprised Xeraxian defenders. The new human ships moved faster than the aliens expected, their weapons more powerful than before. "The Xeraxian flagship is attempting to retreat," Frank reported. "Let it go," Catherine decided. "I want them to tell their leaders what happened. Here." When Eric's team returned with the stolen data, Catherine ordered the fleet to withdraw. They had what they came for, and more importantly, they had shown the Empire that humans could strike anywhere. Back on Earth, diplomat-turned-spy Kelly Winters made contact with the Mororians, a species recently conquered by the Xeraxian Empire. Through a secret channel, she spoke with their leader. "My people have suffered under Xeraxian rule for 20 years, the Mororian leader told her. "We will help you fight them." "We need information," Kelly said. "Ship movements, weak points, anything that can help us." "We can do better than that," the Mororian promised. "We can sabotage their supply lines and provide you with their shield frequencies." This new alliance was exactly what Earth needed. The Mororians weren't the only ones. 6 other species, all under Xeraxian control, secretly reached out to humans. They saw Earth's resistance as their chance for freedom. Admiral Ryan Carter led the next major offensive, Operation Lighthouse. His fleet pushed beyond the solar system for the first time, attacking Xeraxian supply lines. "Their empire is too spread out," he explained to his captains before the mission. "They can't defend everything at once. We'll hit them where they don't expect us, then be gone before they can respond." The tactic worked. Over the next 2 months, Ryan's fleet destroyed 17 supply convoys and 3 minor Xeraxian bases. The Empire was forced to divert ships from other fronts to protect their supply lines. On Earth, Defense Intelligence Officer Peter Harrison worked day and night analyzing the data from the Titan raid. What he found changed everything. "They're fighting rebellions on 3 different fronts," he told President Garcia in a secure meeting room. "The Xeraxian Empire is stretched thin, and their homeworld is vulnerable." Eleanor looked at the star, map showing enemy positions. "Can we reach their homeworld?" "Not yet," Peter admitted. But we now know where it is, and more importantly, we've managed to break their communication encryption. This was a major breakthrough. By listening to enemy communications, Earth could anticipate attacks and plan defenses. Peter's team intercepted a message that confirmed what they suspected. The Empire was worried. They've never faced a species like us before, Peter explained. In their 4,000-year history, most species surrender after the first defeat. They don't know how to handle an enemy that keeps fighting back. In space, the war expanded. The Mororians openly rebelled against their Xeraxian rulers. 2 other species followed their example. The Empire, once seemingly invincible, now fought on multiple fronts. Supreme Overlord Krath called an emergency meeting of his war council. For the first time in his rule, he faced criticism from his generals. "We are wasting resources fighting these humans," said Admiral Vex. "We should secure our core systems first." "You suggest retreating from Earth?" Krath was outraged. "The Empire does not retreat. The Empire has never faced a situation like this," another general argued. "Rebellions spreading across 3 sectors, supply lines under constant attack, and these humans pushing further into our territory each week." Krath slammed all 4 of his fists on the table. "I will not be the first Supreme Overlord to lose. A war in 4,000 years. Send in the Void Guard." The council fell silent. The Void Guard was the Empire's elite force, never used except in the most desperate circumstances. "My lord," Vex warned, "if we commit the Void Guard and still fail, we will have nothing left to defend the homeworld." "We will not fail," Krath insisted. "These humans have surprised us, yes, but they are still primitive compared to our civilization. The Void Guard will crush them." As the Xeraxians planned their next move, humans and their new allies grew stronger. Colonel Stephanie Rogers coordinated joint operations with the Mororians and other rebel species. Ambassador Daniel Cruz negotiated technology exchanges that benefited all members of what was now called the Galactic Liberation Alliance. "We're not just fighting for Earth anymore," Daniel told the Alliance representatives. "We're fighting for freedom across this entire sector of space." The once isolated humans now led a coalition of 7 species. Ships of different designs fought side by side against Xeraxian forces. The Empire, used to conquering divided enemies, now faced a united front. Admiral Carter received word of the Void Guard's deployment. "They're sending their best against us," he told his officers. "They think it will break our spirit." "They still don't understand humans, do they?" his first officer replied. Carter smiled grimly. "No, they don't, and that's why we'll win." The war had entered its most dangerous phase, but for the first time, victory seemed possible. 2 years had passed since the first Xeraxian ship appeared above Earth. Now humans fought alongside 7 other alien species in what they called the Galactic Liberation Alliance. Colonel Stephanie Rogers worked in the new Alliance Command Center on Earth's moon. Representatives from all 8 species gathered around a large holographic map showing Xeraxian territory. "The Empire is now fighting on 12 different fronts," Stephanie explained to the group. "They're pulling ships away from Earth to deal with rebellions elsewhere." A tall blue-skinned Mororian named Kaltos nodded. "My people have destroyed 3 of their outposts in the Rigel sector, but their response grows more brutal with each defeat." "That's why we need to coordinate our attacks," Stephanie said. "If we strike at different places at the same time, they can't concentrate their forces against any one of us." On the diplomatic side, Ambassador Daniel Cruz worked to strengthen the alliance. In a large meeting room, he met with representatives from all 7 alien species. "Humans have developed new shield technology," he told them. "We're ready to share it with all our allies." A small, green-skinned Pelteran spoke up. "And what do you want in return?" "Knowledge," Daniel replied simply. "Each of your species has fought the Xeraxians in different ways. We need to learn from each other." This approach worked well. The Mororians shared their faster-than-light drive technology. The Pelterans offered advanced medical techniques. The insect-like Kive taught humans how to build better space stations. With each exchange, the alliance grew stronger. In space, Admiral Ryan Carter prepared for his boldest move yet. His target was Outpost Zenith, the Empire's primary shipyard, in the sector. Intelligence from Peter Harrison showed that destroying it would eliminate 40% of the Empire's shipbuilding capacity. This will be a difficult mission, Ryan told his fleet captains. The outpost is heavily defended. We'll take losses. The captains nodded solemnly. They understood the risks. But if we succeed, Ryan continued, we'll set back their war effort by years. The fleet moved out, now a mix of human ships and vessels from their alien allies. Together they formed the largest attack force the Alliance had ever assembled. The battle for Outpost Zenith was fierce. Zeraxian defenders fought desperately to protect their shipyard. Alliance ships pushed forward despite heavy losses. Admiral Carter's flagship took several direct hits but continued to lead the attack. Their outer defenses are breaking, reported his second-in-command. Ryan nodded, his face grim. They had lost 11 ships already, but they were close to their objective. All ships. Final push, he ordered. Target the main reactor. The Alliance ships concentrated their fire on a single point in the massive station. Explosions rippled across the structure as internal systems failed. Then, with a blinding flash, the main reactor detonated. The entire outpost broke apart, debris scattering across space. We did it, Ryan said quietly. The victory had been costly, but crucial. On the diplomatic front, Dr. Natalie Morgan made an important discovery. Working with communication specialist Kevin Reese, she found divisions within the Imperial Council. Not all Zeraxians support this war, she explained to President Garcia. Some of their high-ranking officials believe attacking Earth was a mistake. Can we use this? Eleanor asked. Natalie nodded. Kevin has found a way to access their empire-wide communication network. We can broadcast evidence of Imperial atrocities throughout Zeraxian space. This strategy aimed to increase internal pressure on the Empire's leadership. Kevin's team compiled footage of Zeraxian attacks on civilian targets, along with testimonies from species who had suffered under Imperial rule. The average Zeraxian citizen doesn't know what their military does in the name of conquest, Kevin explained. They're told they're bringing order and civilization to primitive worlds. The broadcast reached billions of Zeraxians across thousands of worlds. The reaction was immediate. Protests erupted on dozens of planets. Military recruitment numbers dropped. Some Zeraxian commanders even refused orders to attack civilian targets. Supreme Overlord Krath faced growing opposition within his council. 3 of his most trusted generals had been removed for suggesting peace talks with the humans. The Void Guard has failed us, one counselor dared to say during a meeting. They were supposed to crush Earth within weeks. Instead, they lost half their ships in the Battle of Neptune's Ring. Krath's anger was terrible to witness. The Void Guard has never failed before. It's impossible. Yet it has happened, the counselor persisted. Our military faces equipment shortages for the first time in our history. Morale is at its lowest point in centuries. Perhaps it is time to consider. I will hear no talk of peace, Krath shouted. The Empire does not negotiate with lesser species. But the reality was becoming clear to everyone except Krath. The once mighty Zeraxian war machine was faltering. Ships couldn't be replaced as quickly as they were being destroyed. Rebellions spread across their territory like wildfire. On Earth, General Catherine Powell received confirmation of their greatest victory yet. Her 5th Fleet had engaged the legendary Void Guard at Neptune's Ring and defeated them decisively. Their remaining ships are in full retreat, her intelligence officer reported. Catherine could hardly believe it. The Void Guard had never been defeated in 4,000 years of Imperial history. Any word from the Empire? She asked. Nothing official, the officer replied. But our spies report chaos in their high command. Some are calling for Krath's removal. This was unprecedented. No Supreme Overlord had ever been challenged during wartime. In his palace on the Zeraxian homeworld, Krath sensed the growing threat. His most loyal guards now watched him with uncertain eyes. Whispers of rebellion reached his ears. I will not be defeated by primitives, he raged to his empty throne room. Most of his advisors had abandoned him. That night, As Krath slept, his own personal guards entered his chamber. They had served him loyally for decades, but now they served the Empire first. 4 silent shots from energy weapons ended the rule of Supreme Overlord Krath. By morning, a new leader had taken control. Imperial Regent Nyx addressed the Council with a different message. For 4,000 years, the Empire has conquered without question, she said. But these humans and their allies have shown us something we have never seen before, a force that grows stronger from conflict rather than weaker. The Council members listened in stunned silence. The Empire can adapt too, Nyx continued. We must secure our core systems and end this costly war. I am sending a message to Earth. We will offer a ceasefire. Across human and Alliance territory, the news spread quickly. The Zeraxian Empire, which had never backed down from a fight in its entire history, was asking for peace. President Garcia received the message in her office. After reading it, she looked up at her advisors. They want to talk, she said simply. After 2 years of war, they're ready for peace. The path ahead would not be easy. Trust between the species was nearly non-existent, but for the first time, there was hope that the fighting might end. Humanity had achieved what no other species had done in 4,000 years. They had fought the Empire to a standstill, and then pushed it back. 3 years after the Zeraxians attacked Mars, representatives from both sides met on neutral ground. The peace conference took place in the Pleiades system, far from both Earth and the Zeraxian homeworld. Diplomat William Foster led the human delegation. Once a history professor, he now found himself making history instead of teaching it. William stood at the window of the conference station, watching ships from a dozen different species dock nearby. The sight still amazed him. 3 years ago, humans had been alone in the universe. Now they led an alliance of 8 species, with more asking to join each day. It's time, said his assistant. William nodded and straightened his formal uniform. The weight of responsibility was heavy on his shoulders. The terms agreed here would shape the future of human expansion into space. The conference room was large and circular. The human and Alliance representatives sat on one side, the Zeraxians on the other. Imperial Regent Nyx led the Zeraxian delegation. Standing 7 feet tall with blue-gray skin, she commanded the room with her presence. We are here to discuss terms of peace, Nyx began. Her translator made her complex language understandable to all present. The Empire offers a cessation of hostilities against Earth and its colonies. William shook his head. That's not enough. This alliance doesn't just represent Earth anymore. We speak for all species who have suffered under Imperial rule. A murmur of agreement came from the Alliance representatives. The Marorian ambassador, Kaltos, spoke next. My people were enslaved for 20 years. We demand recognition of our independence. Other representatives made similar statements. The Zeraxians listened with obvious discomfort. Never before had they negotiated as equals with species they considered inferior. These terms are unprecedented, Nyx finally said. The Empire has never granted independence to conquered worlds. The Empire has never been forced to ask for peace before, William reminded her. These are unprecedented times. The negotiations continued for days. The Zeraxians fought against every concession, but their position was weak. Reports arrived daily of new systems declaring independence from Imperial rule. On the 5th day, Admiral Vex joined the Zeraxian delegation. He had commanded the first attack on Mars 3 years earlier. Now he sat across from the humans he had tried to conquer. William recognized him immediately. Admiral Vex, I didn't expect to see you here. I requested to attend, Vex said stiffly. I wanted to see these humans who defeated the Void Guard. During a break in the talks, Vex approached William privately. You should have been easy to conquer, he said. Your technology was primitive, your military small. William smiled slightly. You made a common mistake. You judged us by our technology, not by our nature. What do you mean? Vex asked. Humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years. We survived ice ages, plagues, and disasters. Every time we faced extinction, we adapted and came back stronger. William looked directly at Vex. You weren't just fighting our ships and weapons. You were fighting our entire history of survival. Vex considered this. The Empire has much to learn about your species. That's what peace is for, William replied. On the 7th day, the treaty was ready. Its terms were indeed unprecedented. First, the Xeraxian Empire would pay reparations for the Mars attack and other civilian casualties. Second, Earth and all Alliance worlds would be recognized as fully independent and sovereign. Third, a buffer zone would be established between Earth and Imperial space, with free passage guaranteed for all peaceful ships. Fourth, a joint council would be formed to resolve future disputes without war. This is the end of the Xeraxian Empire as we have known it for 4 millennia, Nick said as she prepared to sign. But perhaps it is the beginning of something better. William signed for Earth, followed by the representatives of the other Alliance species. Last to sign was Admiral Vex, who had once commanded the invasion fleet. His signature symbolized the military's acceptance of peace. When the ceremony ended, William sent a simple message to Earth: peace secured. The news spread quickly across human territory, streets filled with celebrating people. After 3 years of war and uncertainty, humanity had not just survived. They had changed the course of galactic history. President Eleanor Garcia addressed the United Nations one last time before her term ended. 3 years ago, we faced extinction, she said. Today, we have not only secured our right to exist, but helped free countless other species from imperial rule. Humanity has proven itself to the galaxy. 6 months after the peace treaty, Samuel Wright, now Admiral Wright, stood on the observation deck of Earth's first diplomatic station at the edge of what had once been Xeraxian space. Beside him was Lisa Bennett, who had survived the Mars massacre to become Earth's foremost expert in alien diplomacy. Hard to believe it's been almost 4 years since that first contact, Samuel said, watching ships from different species dock at the station. Lisa nodded. They thought we would be easy prey. Instead, we showed them something they'd never seen before. What's that? Lisa asked. Samuel smiled. A species that fights hardest when cornered, and one that knows the difference between winning a war and building a peace. Below them, the station hummed with activity. Representatives from 20 different species now worked together in what was being called the Galactic Council. Old enemies learned to be allies. Ancient rivalries began to heal. On Earth, Olivia Martinez and Alan Blackwood led the new interspecies technology exchange. Advances that would have taken centuries developed in months as different species shared their knowledge. We're learning faster than ever before, Olivia told a group of students at the newly established Space Academy. The Xeraxians spent 4,000 years conquering. We'll spend the next 4,000 exploring and building instead. Joseph Daniels, the hero of Jupiter and Saturn, now commanded Earth's defense fleet. But his ships rarely saw action anymore. Instead, they escorted scientific missions and protected trade routes. Some days I miss the excitement, he confessed to his first officer, Paul. But I prefer peace. Paul nodded. The cadets still ask for stories about the war. Tell them the important part wasn't the fighting, Joseph said. It was what we were fighting for. In her lab, Dr. Natalie Morgan studied the history of the Xeraxian Empire. They conquered for 4,000 years because no one ever showed them a better way, she explained to Kevin Reese. Now they're learning there's more to civilization than domination. The Xeraxians themselves were changing. Young Xeraxians traveled to Earth as students and diplomats eager to understand the species that had done the impossible. The Empire had declared war on humans, then begged for a ceasefire. But the story didn't end there. What had begun with a misunderstanding and a massacre was transforming into something unexpected, a new era of cooperation and discovery. As Admiral Wright liked to remind new recruits, we weren't the strongest or the most advanced, but we were the most stubborn, the most adaptive, and in the end, the most hopeful. In the vastness of space, that hope now spread from world to world, a legacy more powerful than any empire.